I'd like to give you an introduction to the audio tools in ShadowTag. In the main tools menu at the top, we have normalize, fades, trim, and segments. You can find these in the main contextual menu here. And finally, in the audio editor, you'll see just the audio tools themselves. So let's start with normalize. Normalize with options gives us a dialog. We have LUFS or peak. Let's go ahead and use these settings to -13. That'll boost our file. As you can see here, we might want to trim this file, so I'm going to show you how to do this manually. There's a number of ways. One is we can just select the actual audio that we want to do, and we can choose from here, trim, crop selection. Now that'll effectively make the start point there. We can also press I for in and O for out. To move these flags, we can drag them, and so on. Finally, we have the auto detect tool, which detects trim points based on a volume threshold in dB. So I have it set to -50, which is a fairly good one to use for most files. That's going to set it to a reasonable range here, and the cutoff will be there. Then we're going to want to add some fades. There's a couple ways to add fades. In our fade selection here, we have fade with options, fade selection, and clear fades. First, I'll show you fade selection, which is quite simple. It's just make a selection and choose fade selection. Contextually, it'll see where it is. If it's at the start of the file, it'll do an in. At the end, it'll do an out. We can change the slope. Similarly, and we can adjust the time. All these edits are non-destructive, and they'll be saved in your workspace between runs, so you don't have to commit to anything until you're really ready to. Similarly, everything we're doing here can be done in a batch fashion. These particular sound effects all have a fair bit of empty space, so let's just select all 4 of these guys. We'll do our detect trim points again, and then we'll look at each one and see how it did. Again, let's detect fades, and I'll show you the fade dialog now. In this case, these files are quite short, so I'll do 0.3, 0.3. And this sets us up our final tool that I'm going to show you. Right here I have the boom library, the free one. And over here we have a special tool for segmentation, detect segments. This tool is for chopping up stems. In this case we have a full library of somewhat similar stems, and with the detect segments window open, I can get a preview of each of these. If I double click on the marker, it will select that region, and then from that point it's easy to preview what we're going to get. You can press the tab key to quickly audition each of these segments, and then when you're ready to write them, you just press the write markers button, or there's also a command for it here. Write markers commits markers to the file so that in between preview it'll be persistent. So between runs you'll have marked these, but you don't necessarily render them. Again, let's go back to our dialog here, and we do have a render button. What this does is that it divides these into these individual files. We can convert, or we can use the source format. In this case, I'll just convert. Similarly, I can normalize the chunk, and I can apply very short fades, up to 5 seconds on each one. Now, I'll add to playlist, analysis, elements, add. And here are our 6 elements chopped up. So this works pretty well in a batch format. Let's go ahead and select everything. I'm going to use these same settings. Now we're processing the whole library, adding segment markers directly to each file. Again, this is non-destructive. We're simply adding the markers in the workspace. You can either save those to file, or you can keep them in a pending state. This bullet mark here shows that the file has been edited, and it's unsaved. Your unsaved files are always shown here as well. So back to here. Our elements, what we're going to do is now just select all these things. And in segments, let's render everything. Again, same settings, going to the same place. And now we're rendering all the individual files. We'll give that 1 minute to do. I suppose we're probably making around 600 files here, and it's taking a little bit of time on my not that fast computer. And almost done. And then we'll take a look at the Boom Elements playlist and see what we have. I'm going to add them all again to the same playlist. Now Boom Elements, we have 653 new files. All of the metadata from each stem has been copied into its element. So you can see here. Artwork has been preserved, and these are ready to go. Thanks for watching. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to create a sound pack and use all of the export tools.